We're off down into Kepier Wood today. I'm sat currently actually in the river on my chair because I deemed I'd be stiller that way, watching some grey wagtails out on the river just downstream. And I've got some nice video on my Panasonic HDC TM900 camera, which is my video camera. I've also got a couple of my trail cameras out in the wood at the moment. I've already got some nice footage of some of the other wildlife around us. There's a nice egret, a pair of egrets actually we saw today, and there's a few herons that were around as well. So I thought it's worth giving you an idea where the different things are. So the grey wagtails I've been filming have been just behind me on this stretch of river. You're also going to see some footage of one of the herons that's on the river. That was right down on the bend in the distance. I've decided I'm going to check both of my trail cameras, so I'm just off up to the first one. There's a gully just over to the side of me here, and it's up at the top of that. Whilst heading up to where my camera is, I've came across this plant here. This is a foreign invasive species called Himalayan balsam. I tend to just pull it out whenever I find it. It comes out dead easily, and then if you just break it in half and you can just make a pile of it, just helps try and stop it spreading more than it already has. Though if you look up this bank behind me, it is absolutely covered with it. Right, so I've just spent a little bit of time pulling up or bashing some of the balsam. It just helps our native plants because the balsam's so vigorous it just outcompetes them all, so it's worth doing. As if everyone did a little bit like I've just done, it would help get on top of the problem more generally and manage it better for everyone. So this is the gully I talked about where the first of my trail cameras in this wood is hidden. So you've got a waterfall bit just up this way and a cliff bit, and then it just runs down back towards the river, and there's a track which crosses it, which I'm hoping animals use. The camera is just up on some of the bushes on the far side, so just across there. I'm not sure if the cameras managed to catch anything. There were a few leaves that were getting in the way of it, and I think it triggered it. But I'm still going to try it, I think, a bit longer in this position. It had 153 triggers, but I think most of that's going to be leaves going in front of the sensor. You can see it just behind me. You'll also spot that it's got a Python lock on it just to try and make sure it's a bit more secure. And I've also painted that with some Humbrol paints to try and camouflage it a bit. So I'm down by Belmont Viaduct now, which is a disused viaduct across the river where I've just been looking downriver at an egret. I don't know if it's the same one we saw earlier or if it's a different one. So we're stopping here for lunch, and then I'm going to have a look and see whether the trail camera near here has picked up anything, and also have another look around to see if I can spot any other wildlife that might be possible to film. My bag deliberately had my wet shoes in for the next bit. I wore wellies when I put it out there, but it went almost over the top, so deemed shorts and wet shoes was a better option today, as I have to get out to that pier just there, as my other camera is just beside it. There's a few deep gullies run through this as well, so it's a bit of a following the sort of shallower bits round. Right, my instinct is this has been a bit far away from anything that's going on. It's only triggered a few times whilst it's been here. I think most of those are probably me putting it out and coming to it now. It's not the easiest location either. You can't really quite see from here, but I'm perched on the edge of the viaduct. So if I come forward a bit, you'll get a better idea. Yeah. So I think I'm going to move it to a slightly easier to access location and somewhere where I think it's a bit closer to any animals. Still going to take the card and have a look to see if it has caught anything or not. Last time I was across, I pulled various bits of iron out of the river. We think this would have held the rails for a point. So it's one of a few items I found. I understand somewhere there's a pit wheel in here, but I've never seen any sign of that yet. But it's another thing that's quite interesting to look for when I'm out in this area. I hope you've enjoyed that bit of video from Kepier Wood. Over the next few days or weeks it might take me, I'm going to post up some of the footage I've taken previously earlier during lockdown, as I've only just set up the channel, so there's a lot of stuff that I put up on Facebook which you can find in Friends of Kepier for this place, and my own account, which is David Matthew Baker, if you wanted to get an earlier look at it. So I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for joining me.